one notification, one decision. The question is, the money's already here, whether it's already gone. The moment a payment lands, it looks like a paycheck. It isn't. Nobody withheld taxes. Nobody set anything aside. It's just a number. At a normal job, a paycheck already has the decisions made. Taxes are gone. Retirement is set aside. What's left is simply yours to spend. With no system in place, all of it just feels like spending money. Rent, taxes, groceries, a new pair of shoes pulled from the exact same place. A big client payment can feel like winning something. But that number was never fully hers. Some of it already belonged to April. There's no folder for taxes, no separate account for savings, just one pool of money and a guess about how much of it is safe to touch. 3 weeks later, the new laptop still sits in its box. It felt necessary in the moment. Now it just feels like a decision made by someone else. One good month gets around fast. Relatives start asking for help, assuming a big check means she's finally made it. She never corrects them. She tells herself she'll just keep it in her head, a rough percentage for taxes, a rough amount for bills. Rough numbers rarely survive contact with real life. Here's what doesn't add up. Her income has actually grown this year. So why does every payment now feel less like progress and more like pressure? On the shelf sits a notebook she bought months ago to track it all. The cover is barely creased. Some questions are easier to buy than to answer. She checks her balance more than she'd admit. Not to plan, just to know if today is a spending day or a holding her breath day. In the cereal aisle, she's not comparing prices. She's doing math she can't fully explain, trying to guess what portion of her own money is actually hers to spend. Client payments, software subscriptions, rent, groceries, a birthday gift. On paper, it's all just one long, tangled list. Nothing marked business. Nothing marked business. When a client pushes back on her rate, she doesn't feel like a business owner defending a price. She feels like she's asking for too much and gives in. Some months, 3 projects land at once and the account looks healthier than it's ever looked. It's easy in those weeks to feel completely fine. Other months, nothing lands for weeks. The same kitchen, the same person feels completely different when the number on the screen stops moving. Every spring, the same feeling returns. Not curiosity about what she earned, dread about what she might owe, and whether it's still sitting in the account. She transfers money to cover this month's rent without a second thought. It's later, staring at the jars, that she realizes some of it was never hers to move. A friend with a normal job asks how much she actually makes. Maya starts to answer twice, stops twice, and realizes she genuinely isn't sure.
Oh, same old, same old.
Months ago, she built a spreadsheet with color-coded columns for everything. It's still there. She just stopped opening it around week 3. It shows up in small ways. A jaw held tighter than usual. Shoulders that don't quite drop, even on a good day. A body keeping score her mind hasn't caught up to. Somewhere between the guilt, the dread, and the empty jars, one thing becomes clear. This isn't a discipline problem. It's a missing structure. At a traditional job, someone else already separated the money before it reached her. A payroll system did the sorting. As a freelancer, nobody's doing that job anymore.
Doing this for her anymore.
Behavioral scientists call it mental accounting. The brain treats money differently depending on where it sits. One account, one pool, and the mind reads all of it as spendable. A $5,000 invoice looks like $5,000 of income. It isn't. Taxes, software costs, and business expenses are already quietly inside that number. Every freelancer is really two people at once: the business that earns the money and the person who needs to get paid from it. Most never separate the two. The fix starts with a simple separation. Business revenue goes one place first. Only a set portion of it ever becomes personal pay. It doesn't need to be complicated. A rough percentage for taxes, a percentage for savings, a percentage for pay, decided once, applied every time money comes in. The shoebox of receipts doesn't disappear overnight. But when part of every payment is already set aside, tax season stops being a search for money that isn't there. On the 15th and the last day of the month, she moves a set amount from the green jars account into her spending account. Same days every time. The buffer is what makes feast and famine survivable. In good months, it grows. In slow months, it's the reason payday still happens on schedule. Software, a client dinner, a new monitor. Those come out of the business side before pay is ever calculated. Rent and groceries never touch that jar. This was never about willpower. A structural gap doesn't get solved by trying harder. It gets solved by building something that works without relying on willpower at all. A slow month arrives right on schedule with a system barely a few weeks old. The temptation to skip the split and catch up later is immediate. The amount is smaller this time. The habit isn't. That distinction is the entire difference between a system and a hope. The notebook from the shelf isn't blank anymore. A few months of simple entries, nothing elaborate, just proof that a system, once built, keeps running on its own. Something shifts when the money has structure. It stops feeling like freelance income she got lucky with, and starts feeling like a business she actually runs. Separate the money first. Pay a set amount on a set schedule. Let a buffer absorb the uneven months. It's a small system doing a big quiet job. Before the jars, before the notebook, there were other plans. The first one wasn't really a plan at all, just a promise to deal with it eventually. She tried keeping a rough percentage in her head. 30% for taxes, she figured. It worked exactly until the first week she needed grocery money. The advice sounded reasonable. Spend normally, then save whatever's left. The problem was simple. By the end of most months, nothing was ever left. She downloaded 3 different budgeting apps over the year. Each one assumed a steady paycheck arriving on the same day every month. Hers never did. Each abandoned attempt felt like more proof that the problem was her, not disorganized, not undisciplined, just somehow bad with money. It wasn't true. It felt true. For a stretch of weeks, she stopped checking the balance altogether. Not because she felt better about it, because not knowing felt easier than finding out. Most budgeting advice assumes a paycheck twice a month, the same amount every time. None of it accounts for a month with 3 clients and a month with 0. For a while, the answer seemed obvious: work more, earn more, the stress will sort itself out. She worked more. The stress didn't move an inch. For 2 weeks, she tried the opposite extreme, spending almost nothing at all. It wasn't sustainable, and it wasn't really a system either. Just fear, dressed differently. She tried copying a system a friend swore by. 3 accounts, fixed weekly transfers. It was built for a paycheck. Her income didn't arrive on a schedule at all. The difference wasn't willpower or a better app. It was a system built around percentages of whatever came in, not a fixed date, not a fixed amount. Every fix before this one assumed her income looked like someone else's. The one that finally worked was built around how her money actually arrived. The first real step is small and boring. Open a second bank account, one that exists only to hold business money before anything else touches it. Now, every payment goes into the business account first, no exceptions. Not because she's more disciplined, because the account itself makes exceptions harder. A scheduled transfer moves a set percentage into taxes and savings automatically now. She doesn't decide anymore, she just lets the system run. Twice a month, a set amount moves from savings into her personal account. It isn't the whole balance, it's a paycheck she wrote for herself. This time, when she buys something for herself, it comes from money that's already been counted as hers. No math to redo. No quiet dread trailing behind it.
It's really not
The
that
same
big of a
friend
deal.
asks the same
We just needed to be
question
honest
months
with each
later.
other.
This time the answer comes without hesitation. A real number and a real sense of how it got there. A client pushes back on her rate again. This time she doesn't shrink the number. She holds it because she finally knows exactly what it needs to cover. A slow month arrives, same as it always eventually does. This time the buffer absorbs it quietly. Payday still happens. Nothing about her routine has to change. She starts sketching the system on a fresh page. Not for taxes this time, but to explain it to a friend starting their own freelance work. When she sets a new project rate, the owner pay percentage is factored in from the start. The price isn't just about the work anymore, it's about paying herself too. The jars aren't sacred. Some weeks, the percentages shift a little. The point was never perfection. It was having a structure flexible enough to bend without breaking.
Okay, sounds good. I'll
When
see
a
you
relative
soon.
brings up money
Yeah,
again,
me
she
too.
explains it
Bye.
plainly this time.
Bye.
What's revenue, what's actually hers, and why the two were never the same thing. For the first time, she can answer a simple question instantly. How much does she actually make? Not a guess, not a rough feeling, an actual number. With pay and savings finally predictable, she starts sketching a plan for next year. A slower month off, maybe new equipment, paid for on purpose instead of by accident. The guilt that used to follow every purchase doesn't visit the way it used to. Not because nothing's hard anymore, but because she finally has a place to put it. The system isn't finished growing. But for the first time, she isn't just reacting to money anymore. She's actually the one steering it. Spring comes around again. The same calendar date is circled. This year, it's not a countdown to dread, just an afternoon of paperwork, already mostly done. Back at the same mirror from months ago, she says the number out loud,
That's the
what she
number.
actually
I'm
earns
sticking to it.
after everything. It doesn't waver on the way out. The two jars on the windowsill look different now. Fuller, steadier, refilled on a rhythm instead of a whim. Small glass containers holding an entire year of change. If she could tell her old self anything from that first notification, it wouldn't be to earn more. It would be to separate the money before spending any of it. It's an ordinary Tuesday. A payment comes in, splits itself automatically, and she barely notices. That's the whole point. It isn't supposed to be exciting anymore. The system doesn't need her full attention anymore. It just runs, quietly separating what's owed, what's saved, and what's finally simply hers. Has this changed how you think about your own money? Tell us below. Like it, share it with someone starting out, and subscribe for the next one.